Jai Radhe. Now here's a summary with bhavananda poisoning Prabhupada. Now firstly, the poison was brought from Sadadanya Maharaj, who was the actually the political member for ISKCON. He's the man who deals with the courts. And he got Bhavananda out of court when Bhavananda shot 2 men in Mayapur. There's a series of videos on YouTube, and one of them is a New Zealand interview where Bhavananda says, shoot them in the head. And Bhavananda ruthlessly shot 2 men in Mayapur, and those men were returning to get Bhavananda because he had sent dacoits, he had paid dacoits to kill Shuddha Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother, in Navadvip, and who had been given the TOVP project by Prabhupada. So ISKCON Incorporated of West Bengal, that's Bhavananda. West Bengal is Mayapur. So what's happened is that Bhavananda and Jaya Pataka killed Tamal. I've got proof that Jaya Pataka paid for that taxi driver to kill Tamal. And the reason is that they did that was that now Bhavananda completely took charge, and he incorporated ISKCON in West Bengal for his thing, and with Ambarish. And so because he's still running ISKCON as the creative designer of the TOVP, that is the black and white of ISKCON that's happening at the moment. That's to do with the book changes. Everything that's discordant within ISKCON is to do with Bhavananda. As I witnessed him in Australia, I had to collect for him for 30 years in Australia. Really, very, very austere, like unbelievably austere. Like Sydney King's Cross Temple is the wealth. And fortunately, I've got some videos up on my YouTube, on my group page on Facebook. It's called Devotees Who Believe Prabhupada Was Poisoned by Bhavananda. So there are many, many facts that are involved in this. There's the shooting of Kadamba Kanan in the back in Vrindavan. He was TP. He found out about this, Bhavananda molesting the boys. It's Aindra's gas pipes being cut. It's Salochana being killed because he was giving oral sex to Bhavananda, who had to remain in Saffron to keep his position. He was obviously a cabal. He was with Andy Warhol eating children, and he was a boyfriend of Tamal before he even joined it. Tamal brought him in, but he knew Tamal. Tamal kept having to go and rescue him from Hollywood. Even being in Prabhupada's personal association, Bhavananda chose to be in Hollywood, taking adrenochrome with Andy Warhol and the elites. That's where it came from. That's what he maintained throughout ISKCON, as I witnessed in Australia, with the various murders and child molesting and jewelry robberies that happened in Sydney, and Gopinath Acharya, our Dutch most advanced devotee, being banned and finally killed. Gopinath lost his life over this, as did Salochana and Aindra. And for that reason, Gopinath was my best devotee friend, my only devotee friend, is impeccable Vaishnava. And he died as a result of Bhavananda's banning. 3 times they banned Gopinath because he was opposed. And the same happened to Jai Dharma, another Dutch devotee, who lost built Spiritual Sky. He was the temple president. I was the pujari of the deities in Kolo, and he lost everything to Bhavananda. I was out in the street. He had built up Australian ISKCON. So right now, Bhavananda is in Sydney, and I've been trying with lawyers. The police promised me 5 times they would come for an interview here, and I've been advised not to because they are cabal as well, and so they'll just knock me off rather than dealing with this. It's pretty major, and that's why no devotees want to touch it as well. I understand. Any Prabhupada disciples, it may, or I'm beside myself with the lack of response of all the Prabhupada disciples, because you can obviously only take one side, and that must be the side of ISKCON, like Maheshwara had to take. But Maheshwara just revealed yesterday in a post, as was this is staggering, that Prabhupada said to Hamsaduta, come here, take this man away. He wants to kill me. Whoever was doing so, Bhavananda has got all these videos saying that he was the body man in the end. He was putting Prabhupada's covens on. He was doing the mass. Nothing went in or out without Bhavananda's okay. And he says that the same thing about the TOVP at all. Nothing happens without my okay. So he reveals himself in his videos as he has done in Australia as being the world guru, and which I witnessed because I joined long before he came along. So I've been watching him closely, and for some great, unbelievable reason, I have to voice this because I have the living proofs that, if the once this is heard in a court, it's all over. He's a liar. He lied about wearing saffron the entire time. And he became world leader. Actually, he wasn't on the list that Prabhupada initially ordained. Prabhupada gave a list of 7 men. And Tamal said, well, what about Bhavananda? And then he also said, and Jai Bhataka, just because Bhavananda was Tamal's boyfriend. They were homosexuals. There's Bhakti Chura. There was such wicked stuff going on. And all the child molesting and the beating of the kids was to procure adrenochrome. As that was happening as early on as the Fisher Mansion in, in Chicago. So Ambarish is involved with all this. And that's the reason why they still have the strength is that Ambarish is he's governing the TOVP and the GBC. The whole thing is a scare tactic from Bhavananda, who's a black magician who's been scaring the daylights out of everyone, and that's why he's put jinx on everyone. It's all black magic. That's why no Prabhupada disciples can do anything. There's a few have peeped up and given me the valuable information, but I'm putting my head on the chopper because to me it's valuable. Prabhupada saved me. I promise you. I know. I saw Krishna saved me in a holy instant when I surrendered to Prabhupada in Melbourne Temple. And since then I've been a devote, collected 3 million. That's why the enthusiasm I've had for ISKCON and working under Bhavananda has sort of come to a pretty ecstatic halt. And because I've got Ramai, as GB's chairman, I've got Ramai on by the throat. And the whole, so and why I keep revealing these truths, because no one is, even so Maestra, who GBC paid to write a book, I've defeated as well, the poison book. And so there's nothing left. So, but it just, my humble self has to present this because I was his first disciple. If I don't do it, it's, so the valuable information, there's a lot more, but the basic things are the jewelry robbery in Sydney, the murder that happened there, the boy who Bhavananda molested in Victoria, murdered, he hung himself, and many devotees in Australia hung themselves who were associated. All Bhavananda's disciples have hung themselves, and I'm the last one, and I'm not going to. And it's a delightful procedure, and it's probably wiser to let all the Brahmanas know in ISKCON, all the Prabhupada's disciples, rather than going through the law. It looks like it's more valuable to let them know the specific information which I have about him in Sydney and Australia, which I'm trying to release. So I'll put this up now, and thank you for listening. Maharaj Ki Jai.